In centuries gone by, wayfarers would enter the chapel of San Sebastiano di Marmora through the door facing directly onto the road that ran alongside a stream, a mill and a sawmill. Today, we enter through this other door, opened many centuries later. A St. Bernard with the devil on a chain and a large St. Christopher appear on the ancient facade. This is how we would have seen St. Christopher in the 15th century. And it is how we would have seen the representation of the Sunday Christ, that is, the Christ wounded by the work tools used by those who do not keep the feast holy. Inside, other frescoes adorn the walls. Until 1985, the artist and the chapel's construction date were unknown. In that year, this inscription came to light. It reads, "On the 20th day of August in the year 1450, the community of Marmora had this chapel built in honour of God and the blessed Sebastian and Fabian." The lower part is a distinctly deteriorated red inscription that is almost illegible except for a few fragments, informing us that the author of the frescoes is Giovanni Bellezong, a native of De Monte. This is probably indicated by the third line where only the word habitator can be read. Looking at this wall, we can see the four evangelists' elegant figures curving along the apse's wall course. Note the sequence from left to right of their poses that reveal a single action, that of writing. They start by dipping the pen into the inkwell, blowing off the excess ink, but the pen tip has to be sharpened and touched up with a knife. Then finally, they are ready to write down their thoughts. On the opposite wall, a unique depiction of the Nativity shows Joseph with his mouth open and his few remaining teeth. At the same time, the handmaiden smiles at the child, revealing a shiny set of teeth. The subjects of a sacred scene rarely showed their teeth. Depicting them was a sign of poor restraint and sometimes an act of hostility. However, linking these images to the popular Valley context to make them more credible seems to appeal more to the painter than conventionality. Joseph is stirring a chicken broth that simmers in the pot, the remedy given to nursing mothers, and his figure, devoid of a halo, represents us humans. The 15th century observer could see himself as if looking in a mirror, at a time when that mouth was undoubtedly more common than today. The depiction of Joseph in this way is, therefore, not intended to be a marginal or ridiculous figure. Still, it has the precise function of emphasising the event's uniqueness with the Virgin Mary's gentle, beautiful and ecstatic adoration of the child. In the panels illustrating the life of Saint Sebastian to the left of the apse, we see the saint, a young man dressed in Burgundian fashion, before the Emperor Diocletian, who reproaches him for betraying his trust. Sebastian points his index finger upwards and declares that he has indeed prayed to God for the salvation of Rome. Finally, it is worth noting the soldier's behaviour, smiling and satisfied, winking at us spectators as he slips his furtive hand into the saint's robe to lead him to martyrdom. Joseph's face is very different here, leading Mary, Jesus and the little donkey to Egypt, fleeing from King Herod's soldiers. This episode is narrated in the medieval theatre text of the Passion of Ravello and refers to the sudden growth of wheat, which had reached miraculous maturity in the newly ploughed fields after the passage of the Holy Family in such a way as to cover their escape. The three soldiers question the farmer, who, somewhat surprised, answers their questions by saying that no one has passed since he sowed the wheat, and he is surrounded by ears of corn that are now well golden and ripe. The armed men realise that too much time has passed, and that those who have passed through those fields before them are long gone. But those of us passing through Marmora are happy to be captured by the centuries-old history of the Chapel of San Sebastiano and Fabiano, which will tell many other stories in the future.